Sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, liebe Creative Community. Mein Name ist Gudrun Hager, ich bin die österreichische Wirtschaftsdelegierte für Italien und ich begrüße Sie herzlich bei unserem Webinar hier aus dem Außenwirtschaftscenter in Mailand. Now, let me switch to English. It's my great pleasure to welcome our experts of today's webinar, Dr. Andrea Tosi, and also Dr. Lorenzo Bailey. Andrea Tosi is from the Istituto Europeo di Design, partner of Außenwirtschaft Austria, and Dr. Lorenzo Bailey is from a company Isinnova, a company that has shown during times of crisis how a creative spirit could drive you to business excellence. And last but not least, I welcome our project manager for this creative report. By the way, this report is written for you in German. With her Italian spirit, dedication, and creativity, she will first present a short survey of this report. Now, briefly, to keep things into perspective, you can read the newest figures and facts in our Wirtschaftsbericht on our website. But maybe you didn't know, just with Lombardy, Austria has business relations that are as large and big as with the whole of Russia or with Spain. Creative industries in Italy. Well, you're all well aware, the cradle of creativity, the Italian spirit, the creativeness that you find throughout the daily life and the business life, of course. Made in Italy stands for products with this certain high quality, this certain design, this certain creativity, and since many years, well, hundreds of years, traditional Italian companies have thrived with their innovative spirit. Milan is definitely not just the business center, but also a cradle or a springboard for everybody that wants to be strong in the design, fashion, creative world. You know, you all know the biggest events and the biggest activities like the Fuori Salone. What do we do in order to introduce Austrian creative expertise to Italy and vice versa, showcase this Italian spirit to our partners in Austria? We have two cooperation agreements, and we're actually really proud of those exclusive agreements that we have with the Wirtschaftskammer Österreich, with the Istituto Europeo di Design, especially focusing on design, fashion, creative industries, and with the Politecnico di Milano that adds to this whole creative spirit a very important technological angle for industry 4.0, architecture, but also design. Let me conclude my first remarks, because I know you're curious to learn more about the report, with an event, with our last event that we realized last year. Before I do that, let me briefly give you an overview of our experiences during the last few weeks. You know that Italy has been the first country in Europe to be strongly affected by the COVID crisis. Your Außenwirtschaft Austria team in Italian never ever was in lockdown. We serviced about 10,000 Austrian companies during the first 100 days that had and have interest in business relations with Italy. We helped them to navigate through all those changes, and this webinar today is an important part of it. Let me briefly look back at this last event that we had, and we are looking forward that many of them will follow. One of them we would like to realize already in autumn this year, but of course we're also looking to be back at the Fuori Salone next year. So what happened last year? I'm very, very proud, and I'm also happy to welcome during this webinar my colleague from the head office. She is the creative lady, so to say, Rianne Leuning. Many of you know her, and thanks to her excellent drive and to my whole team in the Außenwirtschaftscenter Milano, we could realize an exhibition in 2019 that has had a result that we could have never expected. The winning combination of a very fantastic cutting-edge concept in a virtually unknown exclusive location, the Sala Reale, proved to be the perfect positioning for 42 Austrian companies and creatives. We could attract 16,000 actually visitors and an enormous international media response. We have been even elected among the top 10 places to see during Milano. And mind you, there are 1,500 of different events during this week. Now I hand over the floor to Alice Passini before you will have the opportunity to listen to your experts, and we will see and hear each other again for the Q&A session in about 40 minutes. All the best and be inspired.
Thank you so much and buongiorno a tutti. I'm very glad to see such a huge audience here today. As project manager at the AußenwirtschaftsCenter Mailand, I prepared for you a report on creative industries. And in this report, you will find a lot of hints to step into the Italian markets, and I'm looking forward to giving you a lot of information about these sectors, but also as Italian to make you a little bit curious about what Italian companies can offer, and why not to a little bit push you to engage in possible new collaboration here in Italy. So let's start having an overview on this creative report. As you can see, the index is very long because Italy is well known for its creativity and passion for quality. So creative industries has really a wide range of opportunities, but I decided to concentrate the research on the top sectors in these fields. So you will find a chapter on architecture and design, but also information about the entertainment industries. That of course includes film industries, music, video games, and of course television. Then I decided to concentrate our report with a special focus on Milano. Milano, as you probably know, is well known for its business attractivity, but is also a real hotspot for creativity and innovation. Here you can really find the perfect springboard for your activities in Italy, and a lot of fairs, events, and why not also digital webinars where you can showcase your products and your services. Then you will have the chance to read a chapter on the creativity, but also solidarity that companies here in Italy had during this crisis that hit us, that is the COVID-19. I would like to start now talking about the market structure here in Italy. As you can see, the industries, the creative industries has been statistically divided in 5 different sectors. We have, of course, the creative industries that embodies design, architecture, and communication. Then we have the media and entertainment with radio, television, film, and video game, performing arts that includes advertising or industrial design, and last but not least, the arts and heritage that, as you know, culture in Italy plays also a very important role. And last but not least, there is also a new category. There is the creative-driven companies that are traditional manufacturing companies that, for example, works in the field like automotive or plastics, that understood the opportunity that a collaboration with designers or simply creative companies can have and can also give to be very strong on the market. Where are actually creative industry in Italy? As you can see from the graphic, the majority of them are on the northern region of Italy, that is in the west and the northern west region with 38%, and then in the east region of the north of Italy with 20%. We have down the center of Italy, where Lazio and Rome, of course, with the capital, plays a very important role for their cultural heritage, and then the south of Italy. As probably you know, the creative industries really play a pivotal role for the economic performance in Italy. As you can see, accordingly to the last statistics that we have, the turnover for the creative industry in 2018 reached 96 billion euros. This is 6.1% of the national GDP. Together with the cultural sectors that, as I already told you, is very, very important here in Italy, they reached 265.4 billion euros, that is 16.9% of the GDP. Then we had also a very fast growth between 2014 and 2018, where the sector's grown by 2.9% every year. This is, of course, possible thanks to new trends like digitalization and innovation, and also in Italy started to play a pivotal role. But now talk about what actually can do Austrian companies to tap into the Italian market. As Italian, I can tell you that Austrian companies have a really excellent reputation on the market, thanks to their cultural and business competence. Austrians are well known for their precision, but also for their creative talent and also for the cutting edge technologies. These are, of course, characteristics that can help Italian companies to digitalize themselves, but also to get very innovative. This is, of course, one of the most important aspects in this moment. But we have also to say that the long-standing strong economics relation between our two countries are also playing an important role. So I'm inviting you to contact us and the team of AußenwirtschaftsCenter Mailand per mail at mailand@wko.at, and we will of course find a customized service to let you get into the market. I want to finish my presentation with a personal remark. As Italian and as a passionate for design and innovation and creativity, I decided to put in this report, of course, statistics and the fairs and contacts that are useful for you. But I also try to put inside something that it is possible to know only if you live in Italy and only if you are really an expert of these sectors. And this was possible also thanks to our network that we have developed here, not only in Milan, but also in all the country. So thank you so much for your attention. I have now the pleasure to invite Andrea Tosi from Istituto Europeo di Design to explain us what actually sustainable design can do and what are the trends for the next year. Welcome, Andrea, and we are all here, so the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Alice. And I want to thank the Advantage Austria, the Chamber of Commerce of Austria, for having organized such great initiative. It's a great pleasure to be in touch with you. My thought will be about the design contribution in achieving sustainability, meaning environmental, social impact. So we can achieve sustainability in kind of holistic meaning. And this is the effort as ID, Istituto Europeo di Design, we put in training and teaching our students that will be the future generation in design. In order to dive more into my thought, which is not my thought, so is currently pretty popular among the community of both business and design, is how design can contribute in sustainability and in a great shift of paradigm regarding the future trends of the future, in terms of reducing the impact and thinking about community more than about individualistic wants and needs. Of course, somebody say that design talent is that design don't need of translation, so it's transcultural and transdisciplinary by definition, and the effort in achieving sustainability is transdisciplinary, and of course is not just design who tackle this challenge. many efforts from different standpoints has been put in place in order to contribute to this cause. From science and engineering, we have great case of Italian company Nava is producing this matter B that is a fully corn plastic and is completely biodegradable. And if you throw it on the soil, it's going to dilute it on the ground in a couple of months. Okay, this is a good solution, but there is still some side effects in terms of pollution, environmental impact, because the CO2 produced is still present, is still strong. CO2, of course, is something that you put in the environment as soon as you produce something or dismantle something. Great effort has been done in order to make easy the disassembling process at the end of the life of products, in order to segregate and separate different materials when the end its life and goes to the landfill. But again, you produce CO2 when you dismantle objects. A great effort in logistics and distribution, the very well-known case of IKEA, reducing the impact in the environment in shipping goods and items because of innovation in packaging. So in the same room of a container, you can store 100 tables because of this innovation in packaging instead of 10. But as a side effect, the tables, so the furniture became disposable, which is horrible, thinking about furniture as matter of family heritage until the last decades. And again, communication play a role, but this is most of the time just superficial. Somebody defined that greenwashing. So a beautiful facade in a beautiful building is meant to be sustainable, which is not true, because behind you still have a very, very polluting technology inside the building. So there is an issue related to pollution in terms of CO2 production, and we want to take care of that as a designer. And this problem is strictly connected with the overproduction and consumption habits. So in the future generation and the next trend will talk something about switching from individual needs, wants, and tastes to something that is a common denominator for all the customer. So this is the next challenge for design. Design can find this common denominator in order to reduce the variety of needs, wants, and taste. And this is to follow the new trends that will place the community and the so-called we to the center of our project and our next products, instead of having the user or the customer as at the center of project and products. So we will have a big shift of paradigm from me to we, serving collectivity, and I will show you briefly how we can achieve this goal, showing some good and bad cases. The first are bad cases. Of course, if you source from your past, from local handicraft, you can come out with something very durable, a kind of evergreen green product, but there is no innovation in this kind of project. There is no design when you refuse completely the aesthetic, and the aesthetic is the pivotal role of design, because the aesthetic is one of the key factors for customer attraction and for making a customer doing the right choice in purchasing and buying goods. Also, this is a bad example. So you can reuse trash, but there is no design here, no aesthetic. This is a way to reuse oil barrel, transforming into some chairs. So how we can achieve extremely long-lasting product? This is a case of a train for commuter that is warranty for 30 years. And along with the technical warranty, you have aesthetic warranty, because the train is supposed to be updated and refreshed in both interior and exterior design in a regular basis. So we have to be technology conscious. The role of design in being transdisciplinary, having a positive dialogue with technological innovation. My left side case is a negative case of no design, because it's just a way to show off the technology, the green technology. And the very well-known Instituto Europeo in Paris is a way to use design with technology in a very balanced manner. No? The aesthetic of this decoration from Arabic inspiration is a system to catch the sunlight, because each hole is like a camera diaphragm that is going to open and close according to the need of the light of the building itself. In the fashion is evident. So you can, this is designed, so it's made by purpose to produce seasonal, fashionable items in order to sell more. And this is something that we want to avoid. You have a collection, a seasonal, beautiful bag from Louis Vuitton, but this is completely out of fashion. It's not valid anymore. If my wife go outside with these bags, somebody joke her and say, you are completely out of fashion, compared to a super long lasting product, the bamboo bag, which is 80 years old, the design by Gucci, and this is still valid, and valid in terms of both business and design, because the aesthetic is evergreen, and in terms of sales is still working very well. It's a product that will be never delisted out of the Gucci catalog. Here is a paradox. You have technical obsolescences in the right side, a phone that doesn't work anymore because in terms of software, and hardware as well, but the aesthetic is still valid, is still good. So the effort in design behind this phone was so intensive, so great, that after more than 20 years, this phone is still a good phone in terms of aesthetic, instead of some phones that are designed to be short-lasting in terms of obsolescence, and this is to push customers to buy more, to change phones, even if they are still running under the technical standpoint. Again, the difference between transcendent and immanent. In design, immanent means a product that look into the product itself, and this is a great versus compared to the transcendent strategy. So bringing the mind and the ambitions and the sentiment of a customer away from the product itself. So you can buy a watch which is immanent and is still a good product, or you can buy something that is transcendent because it's a special edition with 007 James Bond idea. So when you buy that, you can feel like James Bond for a while, but after this sentiment, this emotion, you will probably be ashamed about yourself, about your choice. You will put this watch in a drawer, and you want to see anymore. And now we arrive to the conclusion, and the conclusion is a bit of a celebration of Italian design as a talent to get inspiration from the tradition and from the past to make very long-lasting products while doing innovation. So the coffee machine Cupola by Aldo Rossi, produced by Alessi, is still on the catalog, is still a good sales product, is old 35 years. And Mr. Aldo Rossi, the architect who designed that, say, okay, I got inspiration from this church, the San Gaudenzio church in Novara. It's not a famous church. So the inspiration gives the name of the coffee machine, cupola, like the dome of the church, and give the chance to Italian housewife to have the same beauty than an Italian view, an Italian skyscraper, an Italian panorama, while staying locked down eventually in their home. All the history of Italian design is an history of innovation through tradition, but design is innovation. So it's not just a copy paste from the past, but it's a copying while doing something more innovative and more contemporary. So this is the contribution that Italian design can provide to the achievement of sustainability in durable aesthetic, which is a key role, a pivotal role in changing the consumer habits at all levels, from consumer goods to luxury goods, from home appliances to home furnitures, and most of the industries can be affected by this radical change. So this is my conclusion. I want to thank you guys for the attention, and now I leave the floor to Alice, who is managing the talk, and I will be available for a further question during the Q&A session at the end of the next presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Andrea, and thank you for the information. Now I have the pleasure to hand over Lorenzo Bailey from Isinnova, that will show us and tell us more about the best practice and inventive genius during the COVID-19. Welcome, Lorenzo, and please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alice, for the presentation. It was good to have this possibility to speak to you, and also it was a pleasure to listen to Andrea before. And so I want to explain here our experience during the COVID-19 emergency, of course, but also I wanted to add some details about our company that became famous during last month. But we are a small company. We are at all 15 people now. So this photo became very famous, the photo with our colleague Alexandro with the COVID-19 emergency mask with the Charlotte valve on the top. And so our motto, our claim is that vision without execution is an hallucination. So if you don't execute, what are your thoughts? You cannot achieve any success. So our job is to take ideas and make them real. And so we are a company that takes ideas from professionals, from companies, but also from private people who had an intuition or an idea to realize, and we try to help them to realize their ideas. So we follow the customers from the concept, so from the first idea to the prototypization, to the first, and also we follow the idea till the market, so till the phase of spreading the product on the market. And our team during the COVID was reduced, as you can see in this photo that also became a bit famous on newspapers. I have said that we are 15, but during the COVID, because of the emergency, we were only 5, as you see here. And during the emergency, we decided to do this photo to remember what we were doing in these difficult months, last months, in particular March and April, where the emergency was at the peak in Italy. And so this is our team during COVID. I wanted to also have a brief overview about what it's the ether of an idea from the planning to the last phases, so the spreading phases. We start from the planning. We have also the ideation. We analyze the idea, of course, and an important part after the analysis and the planning is, of course, the patenting. So the IP protection is fundamental for every inventor, for every idea to be properly protected before spreading. And then we care about spreading and communication. And concerning the most important and the most valid ideas, we try to search partners and investors that can believe in the idea and spread it. And talking more about what we have done during COVID-19, this is our first famous project, because we answered an emergency call from the Chiari Hospital. Chiari Hospital is a little hospital near Brescia, that is the city in the north of Italy where Isinnova is sit. And the hospital was had finished the supply of this component that you see in this photo. It is a Venturi valve. Venturi valve is an important component of respirators, and because of the COVID-19, these components was finished. So the hospital was really in danger, because the lives of people were in danger, and they could die without this component. And so we tried to, in the first day of March, to print this component by using the 3D technologies, and fortunately we managed to produce in short days, as you can see in the second slide, almost 100 of these components using the 3D printer you see in the left bottom corner. And so this is the first way we applied the 3D technology printing to the medical staff. Of course, we wanted to clarify that these type of products were not official, were not medical tested, but in case of an emergency, we thought that it was important to use our professionals, our cleverness to apply science and technology to face the emergency. So this is the first example of using a new technology applying to the medical staff. And so we help the Chiari Hospital in the first day of March. Thanks to the spreading of the news about this project, we take another challenge, and that became maybe more famous than the first one. That is the creation of the Charlotte valve, which is a valve that can transform a standard scuba mask, or better, a standard snorkeling mask, into an emergency CPAP mask. The CPAP mask is a medical device that you must use in case of lower pressure inside the lungs. And so we take the idea from a doctor, Dr. Renato Favero, who had the idea and spread the idea with us. And also in this case, we analyzed the idea. We decided to accept the risk of produce this component because of the really state of emergency in Italy in March. And so in a few days, we printed the first Charlotte valves, and we managed to produce the first CPAP emergency mask using, as you can see here, the Decathlon mask. So this project has a huge spreading. We calculated that in Italy, between 20 and 25 hospitals used the device, and the spreading was huge also abroad, because all over the world we had 100,000 more or less masks in use, in particular in mid or low developed countries like Uzbekistan, Brazil, Tunisia, Morocco, Egypt, and also in rich countries like England, USA, Germany. And so we are very proud to manage to help people with this kind of stuff. That was the results of the application of our technology 3D to the medical stuff. So you can see here some tests about pressure and so on, but you can ask me more in the Q&A session. This is the structure of the device. You can see briefly that it's not made only by the mask and the Charlotte valve, but of course is also made by other components, other medical components like the PIP, the filters, and the reservoir, and the tube. But I want only to say that these components shows to work properly, and so we managed to create something that was good to face the emergency. And now I want to end my presentation about COVID-19 project and started to tell you briefly some of the other projects that our company is in charge to do. We are not a medical company, we are an engineering company, and I want only to give you an overview of other projects that of course are not as famous as COVID-19 project, but are, in our opinion, interesting to see. The first one is the project that gave origin to Isinnova. It's a brick system. It's a wooden construction system based on finger jointed beams. It has a lot of advantages in terms of anti-seismic resistance, and also its facility to be dismantled. And it allowed a team to build an house in few hours. 5 or 6 hours you can build an house from nothing. So it's an incredible fast way and ecologic way to build. Also, we have to speak about what's inside the brick system. This is an example of the structure. So the bearing structure, the insulation panel, and the attachment to the ground and to the roof. It's very important to say that it's cool to have the possibility to check inside the structure without dismantling it. So it has a good a list of good advantages that I have assumed in this slide. So assembly, disassembly, inspectability, recyclability, ecologicality, and customization. Now I move to the second project. Also, I forgot this slide. It was about some project already realized with bricks. You can see here a corner inside a museum in Brescia, and also a bookshop on the bottom right corner. Let's move to the second project. This is a completely different field. This project is called the Blice. It's a device that has to be inserted inside the frozen packaging of the frozen product, like I don't know, fish or vegetables. It's very simple. The concept of this project is aim is to check if the product has respected all the ice chain during the production. So if the temperature of minus 18 degrees has been respected from the producers to the last consumer, to the last customer, so the person who will eat the food. And of course, if the product has respected the chain, the product will be remained in the proper shape, so the square shape. If the products didn't respect the chain, the shape will be changed. So it's a signal of alarm for the customer. This very simple mechanism has won a lot of prizes and is also patented, but for now it has no diffusion. So we are trying to spread it also in Italy, but also abroad. And let's move on. I assume here the advantages of BLICE. Of course, I don't want to stay here too much. Let's move to another project we are proud to spread. It is called Pharmadome. Pharmadome is a spacer shield for chronic wounds. Of course, it's patented like BLICE. The advantage of Pharmadome is the fact that it can be put between the wound and the normal plaster, as you can see here. So his aim is to protect the wound and to allow the passage of the air inside the space between the wound and the normal plaster. It's of course also in this case a simple solution, but very effectiveness, because it can protect of course the wounds, like the long healing wounds like burns or abrasion. Let's move on. Let's see how to apply it. Very simple. So wound, this is Pharmadome, and this is normal plaster. Also, this product have originated a company that is in charge to produce it. Let's move to the last project that I want to show you. As you can see, I have decided to pick projects from very different fields in order to let you understand what's the spreading of our ideas and what's the application of engineers in many different kind of problems and things. This is the last project that is also taking inspiration from Andrea's presentation, a design project, because Bella, it's a bike made by tailor-made sheets of polycarbonate that construct the main structure, as you can see here. So the advantage is the fact that the frame, the monocoque frame, is tailor-made, is indestructible because it's made of polycarbonate. It is of course transparent, so it makes the advantage about structure resistant with also the aesthetic way to produce a bike. And of course, these are some photos of our models. Also, this project has originated a company that is starting now to spread and to produce different models of this bike. And also you can only one thing to add, of course, the bike, it can be provided by lights to give a cool effect during night rides. And so I put here as last of my slides our contacts and our email and phone if you want more clarification about this project and also to know more about our company. I want to let now Gudrun speak and to introduce the Q&A moment. So thank you for your attention and see you later.
Thank you very much, Lorenzo. We now start our Q&A moment, and I would like to invite Andrea to join in. Welcome. So it is time for your questions. We have received already quite a few, but don't hesitate. If you have questions for our experts, please just write them down, and we will take them up immediately and individually. I have to say I was extremely impressed because I did not know in detail everything that such an entrepreneurial spirit like Isinnova and the team behind that came up with. And I must say I was again impressed by Andrea's putting together of the Italian creativity and design. May I start with a question for you, Lorenzo, because you realized this project, and I liked your quote at the very beginning about the execution of a vision that is key. How did you really manage all those challenges in COVID times, especially also in a region that has been affected in quite a serious way? How did you do that?
Okay, I wanted to tell you maybe a little story because I think during the COVID-19 emergency, we received about 200 or 300 phone calls in 2 hours every day. So we decided to turn off the phones for 1 or 2 weeks because it was impossible to work. So the first difficulty was to manage all the requests about the mask, but the second one was to find a solution, and the solution was to spread freely the patent. So we decided not to have speculation on it, not to earn on it, because it was not fair, it was not correct. We tried to let the patent free, so every makers in the world could produce Charlotte valve and attach the Charlotte valve to the Decathlon mask, but also to other masks like Cressy One or Ocean Reef or other brands. And so everyone could help the hospital locally to face the emergency. So the first challenge was how to spread the idea freely, and we decided to do it by publish the files on our site, and of course to give the correct importance to the news and to spread all the articles and the news that came out about this project. The second challenge was, of course, to face the problem of the legalized statement of this product, because this is not legally spreaded. So we decided to contact the ministry, the health ministry in Italy, and the ministry gave us some tips and some advantages to let this product to be used, because in a normal way, in a not emergency situation, a new product must pass 1 or 2 years of testing before using. In this particular case, they allowed us, after a lot of analysis and a lot of calls, to do it in, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks. But of course, the use was under the consent of the patient and of the hospital. So it was difficult to give people the security of the usage. But I can say at the end that we realized something that really works well. In some cases, let me say, for some aspect, maybe better than the official one. But, and this means that a development also in the medical field is possible using the technology.
You know, when you were describing now the challenges, Lorenzo, I was reminded of those 3 important qualities that we find in our everyday business relations with Italy. There's this very pragmatic approach that distinguishes Italian business, as well as this flexibility and of course the creativity. Then what you have described, who could ever think of a way of collaboration to achieve such a positive result? I think your experience, and you show a best practice example that again confirms what Andrea has presented before. And I can only wish you much more success and creative ideas, and we get some inspiration through you as well. I'm sure about that.
Thank you very much.
And Andrea, first of all, thank you. In your presentation, you again summed up and put it in beautiful pictures, important developments in the design field and also in Italy. You are at the forefront of what's happening. You're traveling the world. You're representing an institution that is since more than 50 years the private design school in the world, I would say. Andrea, how would you see the next trends, and especially how do you see the development in Italy?
Okay, thank you very much also for linking my presentation to Lorenzo once and Isinnova success case. Actually, the valve is beautiful in terms of aesthetic. I think it's a piece of design. And I will stress once more how the aesthetic and the role of the design in determining the right aesthetic will be crucial in this big change of paradigm. The trends are clear, and the consumer choice are evident. So the consumer want make their choice according to the impact of their purchases, of their consumer choices. If they don't be aware, it's our responsibility to educate them towards this new sensibility. But the meaning itself of consumption for an object is horrible, and being disposable for an object of design is impossible. So sometimes the companies are in late compared to these emerging trends because they still court the wants and the needs and the individualistic needs of the customers, instead of focusing on design, focusing on an aesthetics that is valid for everybody. This is possible. It's just something people say no, it's impossible because everyone has his own taste. But this is not true. This is a challenge for design to find the common denominator for aesthetic. So in order to deliver aesthetics that are good, valid, and viable for everybody for a very, very long time. And to answer the good question, so Italians do that quite well since a lot of time, but is now to refresh this attitude. We have, I showed you very long-lasting aesthetic, but all of them are very old in terms of design effort. So it's from one side the demonstration that the work of design has been executed in a proper manner, but it must be also a stimulus to come out with a new long-lasting aesthetic for helping a customer to make the right choice and make the life cycle of a product very, very, very durable, very, very, very long during the decades. Yeah, that's my thought.
Thank you very much, Andrea. I'm already thinking, so what you have said is you see on one hand side a very individualistic approach, also maybe changed demand. Do you also see a change of the demand, for example, here in Italy due to the crisis? What do you think would be happening, especially here in Italy?
During the crisis, we radically changed our consumption habits because we were locked down and we were obliged to buy not by impulse, not by chance, not because of the last minute need or want, but because of needs. And the crisis educate our family how to say, to buy with a shopping list and to store food and to reduce the occasion of consumption. And this is a good thing if we do that along with the growth, because our company still have to grow, our economy still have to grow, but we have to change the way, maybe adding some service to the product, to, how to say, walk the life cycle of a product with services, with some add-ons that you can include in order to keep alive both the product and the economy. This is not a project for the croissants, for living in a crisis world. It's a project for growth. It's a stimulus for making goods better and according to this big shift in the customer mindset.
We have received another question, and I would like to ask both of our experts about their opinion, and then I decide if I want to be very optimistic or realistic. We got greetings from London, a participant, and the question was, or is, what do you think will the Salone and the Fuori Salone ever be the same again after 2020? Please give us your opinions. Lorenzo, may I start with you?
Okay. I think that we have to manage and find a solution to do this kind of I don't know, meetings, because we have to face the challenge and not to be afraid from the risk, because life must continue. So I think that using our brain and our capacity, we can find solutions to keep this kind of fair safe, and so people can join and can spread their talent as in the past, but also having some rules to respect more, but the rules cannot stop the progress. So I'm not an expert of design, but in the past I have attended many times for the Salone, not only because of the of industrial and professional meaning, but also starting from the social meaning that he has. So it's an emotional feeling that for the Salone brings with the I don't know, its aim is to let people know each other. So not only professional way, but also in a personal way. So I think it's important to recover this kind of stuff also in the future.
Andrea, what is your opinion?
But now it's funny to see some magazines and the report of for the Salone, and the title is usually is what we have seen at the Salone, and now is what we haven't seen at the Salone. As Lorenzo say, it's a matter of innovation and find the solution to manage this risk. Of course, Salone will be much more, how to say, the security and then will be managed much better than the Fuori Salone, which is mainly an informal and outdoor system of events. But I'm very confident that the fair, the traditional fair, the indoor fair in a manageable space and an infrastructure will be safe, because the control and because the procedure you can apply to the entrance for the visitors and so on.
Yeah. We received another question with regards to that. When will be the next design exhibition in Milano? So I think we already know at this point of time that the Salone as such will be realized or will happen next year in April. The date, etc., the date is already fixed. With regards to the Fuori-Salone, because we always have to distinguish, as Andrea said. You have the classic Salone del Mobile, the most important showcase of Italian furniture design, etc., at the fair as such. And then you have these incredible diverse Fuori-Salone design exhibitions, where Austria, for example, last year was an important part of. And I think right now there are various concepts that are trying to be tested. Just a few days ago, we experienced the first digital design week with quite a few important contributions, but let's face it, we all want to meet in person. We want to be able to communicate, to get our impressions, not just through our digital ways and channels that we appreciate very much in terms of crisis, of course, but this design week in Milano had so much more also, as Lorenzo put it. It's about a social thing. There is so much in the air during that time that we will all be curious how we can do it in April next year. And yes, I still want to be optimistic. I don't know if Lorenzo and Andrea agree with me that it will not be the same, maybe, but it will continue, and maybe it will show us some aspects that we don't think of yet today. Do you agree with me, Lorenzo and Andrea, with that analysis or statement? Or is it too optimistic?
I think that we passed some periods that were, of course, worse than this one. We passed worse. We passed illness that were much more dangerous than this one. So we must be confident and brave, but be brave is not to be that doesn't mean not to think about the risk. So it's always a matter of how to manage the risk. So if you are able to think about the rules that can be respected and rules that people can understand, so you can find the right way. Of course, if you are not able to find rules that can be accepted, that it's not possible. So if you say me, let's do the Fuori-Salone with a 3 meter from a person to the other one, I think it's impossible. Yeah. But if you say to me, okay, let's do it with something that is allowed, something that is not, it's possible. So maybe inside the bar or inside a shop, it's not possible to go more than, I don't know, 2 or 3 people. But in the streets, it's possible to walk freely. I think it's a sort of balancing that we must find. So not too much, but not too low.
I like that very much. It's your maybe also concluding remarks, this balance that we all need during these days. What would be your concluding remark, Andrea? May I also invite you?
I'm optimistic because design is optimistic by definition. And design is again innovation, so always seeking for innovation. Even looking to the past experience, but it's innovation. So it's more than problem solving, is solution setting.
Lorenzo, Andrea, first of all, thank you very much for your time, for sharing with us all your creative ideas. And thank you also. I'm sure there will be some more questions coming up, and I'll be happy to stay in touch. Also, a special thank you to Alice Passini of our office. I invite you again to read our creative report on Italy. I wish you all the best in all your projects in Austria, in Italy, all over the world. And of course, as you also mentioned in your questions, we are very much looking to see you soon in Milano. Ci vediamo a Milano.